Welcome to Tallahassee, Florida, and Doak Campbell Stadium, home to some great Heisman Trophy winners, legendary coaches, and today the Seminole Award chant will be rocking this place. There's nothing quite like a great rivalry matchup in college football. The bitterness, the intensity, the lifetime of memories that will come as a result of what we're about to see in this one. As we'll see the number 17 team in the country, the Miami Hurricanes, taking on a fellow SEC opponent, the Florida State Seminoles. For EA Sports College Football, I'm Reese Davis, joined here in the booth by David Pollack and Jesse Palmer. And guys, let's get this thing started. The Noles will kick it away to start us off. He'll take the return and try to improve the field position. Good job by the coverage unit to stop the return man. So Miami will be in a hole thanks to that short return. The flash, the style, the swagger, these two really define an era of great college football, and it's always fun to see them square off.
So well put, Reese. I mean, two flashy programs, and when they're rocking, they're rocking. The state of Florida's rocking. Everybody's wanting to go to Miami and Florida State. This is a big one, Paul.
Yeah, and David, you and I can appreciate this because we were playing back in the day when these two programs really had it rolling, when they had so much NFL talent and speed on the field. It seemed like each and every year, and this was a game that always seemed to determine the national championship picture at the end of the year.
Gets it out fast. And boy, is he close to that first down, maybe just a couple of inches short. The Canes will try to pin them back with the punt. Having to kick it away after a 3-and-out's not what they had in mind. Might have thought he'd want to try to pick up a few yards there, but he's content with making the fair catch right around the 35-yard line. So Florida State's offense will have its first possession of the game. One thing to keep an eye on in this game, when they get a back isolated on a linebacker, who wins that matchup?
The quarterback likes the matchup, but this linebacker, he's different, man. Not only is he a hitter, he's got the athleticism to cover people, too.
Normally you say that's a win for the running back. The running back on a linebacker, I win. But this guy is different. Interested to watch this matchup.
Makes the stop at the 35-yard line. They rip off 15 yards on that one, and they are rolling. Might as well give it to him again. They get him stopped at the 30, but not before he gets 5 yards. Halfway there on first down, it's 2nd and 5. He's looking to throw. Can't find the man, and he'll be knocked down at the 40. A deep tradition of backers who make plays and get after quarterbacks. Ray Lewis could do it all back in the day, just like this guy is.
And they look the same, don't they? They look the part, just big, physical, huge guys, but the speed element always there, always in the backfield, making plays.
I'm not positive, but that first down marker might be in the next county. On 3rd and long, he'll need to push it downfield. And the incomplete pass will bring up 4th down. And they're running out the kicker to give it a try. He's going to have to break out the thunderfoot on this one, a 57-yard attempt. It's good. He could have hit a string right in the middle of the uprights there. And the first points of the day come on that field goal. They'll kick it away after putting up a field goal on that last drive. He'll bring it back from inside his 5. Really disciplined job by the coverage unit to get down there and make the stop at the 19. And here comes that Miami offense back onto the field. Comes out throwing on first down. Fires into traffic, intercepted. The return never really got started, but boy, he has set his team up at the 28.
And this ball looks like it just got away from the quarterback. I think he made the right decision. He was going to the receiver that seemed open, but just not very accurate on the throw, and that leads to the interception. First down here for the offense.
Looking to move it through the air. Time running out, and he goes down at the 34. They'll tell you that somebody's always going to pop open, but it didn't happen in time before they got the sack.
No, it did not. And you know what? I'm going to remember this. I'm going to remember zone defense. They didn't really have an answer. They weren't ready to get rid of the football. Quarterback hesitated. I got to him and got him on the ground. Might be a good call later on in the game.
So now on 2nd and long, you start to think just don't fall out of field goal range. He rumbles ahead for 6 inside the 30 to the 28-yard line. And, guys, they really need to make something happen on this 3rd and long.
Neutral zone defense.
Defense way over-eager there, and now the entire playbook just opens up before the eyes of this offensive coordinator. Takes it from the gun on 3rd down. And you'd like to think this sophomore wouldn't make a habit of trying to force passes into double coverage like that. And here comes the field goal unit for the 2nd time tonight. And this one splits the uprights.
Well, they're able to get a field goal, put 3 points up on the board after getting that interception. You would like to have seen the offense do a little bit more with that possession, give themselves an opportunity to score a touchdown. But listen, teams will take 3 points any way they can get it.
So after putting 3 on the board, the kickoff team is out there ready to boot it away. The returner's going to try to see what he can get. Really disciplined job by the coverage unit to get down there and make the stop at the 19. Here comes the Hurricane offense looking to gather a little more strength. He's dropped behind the line of scrimmage. That'll be a loss of 3. Not what they had in mind to start this drive. Here comes 2nd and 13. They'll ride the running back and leave it with him. May not be the most memorable play of the day, but it's important as he gets them out to the 25-yard line. Defense didn't maintain its discipline there, and they get into the neutral zone. It'll cost them 5 yards.
Defense.
Contact in the neutral zone leads to that penalty. Good news for the offense. Trying to find his man on 1st down. Got a man in the middle. Gets it to the 46-yard line. 1st down for this offense. And the Canes come to the line with a new set of downs. Movement on the offensive line. That's going to be a false start, and they'll walk it back. Not much of a decision to make there. The defense will move him back. On 1st down, here comes this offense. From the gun, he'll try to throw. Grabs it in the middle. They bring him down, but a solid pickup to put them in position to pick up a 1st down. On 2nd down, looking again to throw. Or did he find a hole in that secondary? Really nice pickup on that one as they get it to the 36. It'll be 1st down. They're going back to the ground. Makes the tackle at the 31. It's a pickup of 5 on the play. Halfway there on 1st down, it's 2nd and 5. He's looking to throw. Got the back over the middle. They make the stop, but the sweet rolling catch is plenty to give them a 1st down. And the Canes have pushed it inside the 20. They've marched to the red zone, and here they go. And he really wanted to get the touchdown there, but it's incomplete. 8th play of the drive coming up. Right back up top on 2nd and 10. Got his man down the middle. And he laid the lumber to stop him from getting the 1st down. Boy, they'd love to pick up this conversion and go to work with a 1st and goal. The Hurricanes get it past the sticks. The offense knocking on the door, 1st and goal. They'll try to get it in with the run. He steps and powers and works his way. They finally get him down at the 2. 2nd and goal coming up. Early movement on the offense will push them back a bit.
False start.
The officials offer the deal, and the coach accepts it. They will take the penalty. He's back to throw on second down. And it's caught! Touchdown, Miami!
Big-time players make big plays in big games, man. And it seems like each and every week when this guy has an opportunity in the end zone, he's coming up with the big one. That time, great job focusing and concentration. Defense not able to cover him. That's his now 10th receiving touchdown on the year.
Lining up to add another. And the extra point puts them on top by 1. Let's go to the studio now and check in with Kevin Connors. Kevin, what do you got?
Terrific showdown this week, guys. Let's take a look at what's going on. Middle Tennessee is down right now, but this young man under center has shown some moxie. We could see a legend born today in Murfreesboro. They're trailing by just 4 to Tennessee. We'll circle back. If anything big happens, you should know about it.
Thanks for the update on that one, Kevin. Let us know when it goes final. Out of the gun, the inside handoff to the running back. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one. You make up the game plan, and not a lot on the play sheet for this. 3rd and long from inside their own 20. Throws to the wideout. Got his man downfield. Love to see these 3rd down conversions on offense, and they're out to their own 39-yard line. And they just want to give this guy a chance to make a play on 3rd down, and more times than not, he is going to deliver.
He's so good, so efficient, such a good route runner, got the speed, got the complete game, so you definitely want to highlight him, and especially on those downs that matter the most. If something's not open quick underneath, find him, he'll make those contested catches.
Trying play action. Shoots it to the left. Hauls it in. Good execution. They move the sticks, and they've got it at the 33. The Seminoles come to the line in the hurry-up. This guy hoping to join that long line of big playmakers for Florida State, whether it's Rashad Green, Kez McCorvey, or, of course, the great Peter Warrick.
Finding those guys on the outside with game-breaking speed that you can build your offense around, that you know you can consistently throw the football, get Doak Campbell Stadium rocking, get everybody excited about Florida State.
Not much working there. It'll be 2nd and 9. Now setting up shop in the red zone. Wide receiver now comes in motion. Quick pass on the jet motion. Headed to the end zone. Gets it into the end zone, but wait a minute. We'll have to check out the laundry on the field. Holding penalties, the ultimate drive killer. We'll see if it costs this offense here. They'll run play action. And the defense gets home. Yippee-ki-yay at the 35.
Oftentimes with play action, you're asking the quarterback to hold on to the ball a bit longer, and you're asking this offensive line to hold up and pass pro a bit longer. Against this athletic front 7 on defense, it's going to be tough.
As they get set to snap it, time winding down here in the quarter. We've reached the end of the quarter, and Miami is on top. And we've come to the end of the first as we take a moment to check out the stats so far. Heading in the opposite directions now as we crank it up in the second. This will be the 8th play of the drive, but a great opportunity for the defense to get off the field. On 3rd and long, hoping to throw beyond the sticks. And it falls incomplete, and the offense is lucky to have it. Defender right there almost had it in his grasp. And this kicker has had a busy night. The field goal unit is out there for the 3rd time. It is perfect. And after the field goal, guys, they are back on top. So they're lining up to kick it off after that last drive. Put a 3 spot on the board, and now the defense will try to shut him down. Here he comes from inside his own 5. Didn't find any crease in that kickoff coverage, and he'll be stopped at the 17. And here comes that Miami offense back onto the field. David, they'd love to do what they did last time and put this one in the end zone.
You ain't lying. They did a great job. The offense was clicking. Everything went well, Palmer. They executed and got the touchdown.
And they really were in a nice rhythm as well. And I'd love to see that here on the next drive, too. Just keep doing what you're...
And the quarterback bought some time, but not enough. Down he goes with the sack. The idea was to sell that play fake. Nobody was buying it.
You're right, Reese. That D-line, they looked like they had their ears pinned back, and they were coming out to the quarterback. You saw dudes rush upfield. They got to that QB fast.
Well, after not getting a thing done on first down, it's 2nd and long from the 24. He's looking to throw. Quickly to the tight end. They make the stop, but not before he takes a chunk out of what they need to move the sticks. Here comes this home crowd as the defense tries to get off the field on 3rd down. Going to try to get it himself. How about that nice run from this junior quarterback? And the Hurricanes are marching down the field. The offense showing motion from the tight end, trying to get a read on the D. Running back searching for a hole. And they'll finally get him down after a terrific pickup. The Canes have it with a 1st and 10. He wants to throw. Fires to the big fella. And an absolutely fearless tackle, giving up size, still got him on the turf. Wants to fire on 2nd down. Finds his tight end. They get him on the ground, but it's a 1st down. Now from the 36-yard line, it's 1st and 10. He's looking to throw it. On target. And that play just looked to be a mess from the snap, and he's run out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage. They'll go to the ground. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one. 9th play of the drive coming up, but this one will be tough. 3rd and long. Looking to throw, and he needs a chunk play. Just too much of a rush, and down goes the quarterback just behind the midfield stripe at the 49.
This was one of the keys to the game. Could this quarterback, could he extend plays and then make throws in scramble situations? That time, the defense was able to get to him and bring him down for a huge loss.
And the Canes will send out the punt unit. This will be the 2nd time they've had to kick it away. And they'll keep it away from the return man as the punt goes out of bounds. Guys, here comes that Florida State offense back onto the field. Man, how comforting is it to know that even if your offense stalls out a little, Jesse, that field goal kicker can knock it in from a long way out.
Well, he's one of the best in the country, Reese, no doubt. But this offense would like him and prefer for him to kick an extra point on this drive. And to do that, David, they've got to have more rhythm on offense.
Yeah, create some more rhythm, create some more explosive plays, and maybe some more balance. And listen, it's nice to have that weapon and kick long field goals. If you kick too many field goals, you don't get very many W's.
Shotgun snap on 3rd down. He fires a bullet to the right. And he's got it inside the 35. And he slipped through the crowd, and he'll house it. Touchdown, Seminole. Quick strike touchdown comes out and jump-starts the offense.
And man, we see this in college football, so much explosiveness and firepower, and we get high-scoring game after high-scoring game, and it looks like we're on pace for one of those right now.
On to attempt the try. The extra point is good, and they have a 9-point lead. Quick strike offense on that 3-play scoring drive. And they finish with a huge play in the passing game, covering 66 yards to the end zone. And he takes this from inside the 5. And the returner goes down. Here comes the Hurricane offense looking to gather a little more strength. From the gun, give on the inside. They needed to find enough space and get it moving forward, and they're up to the 22. Good spot after that 7-yard pickup on first down. It's 2nd and 3. And it goes through his hands. Oh, he had an explosive play right there for the taking, but couldn't reel it in. He's going to look for a man on 3rd and short. Got him downfield. Really nice job there to pick up the first down and get it to their own 41. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. Out of the shotgun, they go to the ground. And he is stopped immediately by the big defensive lineman. Got stuffed on first down. It's 2nd and 10. On the move. Really nice stop there from this senior leader. Decibels rising as the crowd gets behind this defense on 3rd down. From the gun, wants to pass. Tight end finds a soft spot. He's run out of bounds, but not before turning in a big pickup and moving the sticks for a first down. This time they'll go to the running game. In a series that's been defined by close games, the last meeting was not that as the Canes blew them away.
And they jumped out all over the Noles early in that game. They kind of established that rhythm and swagger. And, David, you know, when this team gets the swag and they start feeling themselves, it's ball game. It's over.
When they get it going and the talent they have, they always have upper-end talent on their teams. It's just, can they meet that talent? Can they exceed it sometimes, occasionally? They were up for Florida State a year ago. Let's see if Florida State can return the favor.
And the Canes will snap it on 1st and 10. From the shotgun, they'll run it. Fights through the pile and picks up a couple down to the 16. Picked up 2 yards on that last one. They need 8 on 2nd down. He's looking to throw. Quarterback extends the play. Nice job of avoiding the sack and picking up a few on the run. Boy, they'd love to move the sticks here and take a shot at it on 1st and goal. In the gun, looking to throw on 3rd down. They're trying to get to it. And that one is picked up in the end zone. And he's brought down after the pick, but not before putting his offense in business.
That's number 2. That's a good year for a lot of people. What a day. Having 2 interceptions already. I might try my hand on the other guy. This guy is not somebody I want to mess with.
Seminoles have it back. They'll try to get that offensive spear flaming. And, David, how they would love to stick it in the end zone one more time after that last drive.
And once you get the defense on their heels and you back them off a little bit, you get a little bit of rhythm, it's really hard to stop, Jesse, and they're going to try to do it again right here.
And if you're this play caller, you're loving what's happening right now because everything you dialed up on that last drive ended up working out. You're just looking at your play sheet. Everything you're picking is working. Let's see if they can pull it off again here.
Fairly manageable distance here on 3rd down from the 27. He finds his man. And they reacted well to the completion, but it was too late to keep him from getting the first down. We've reached the 2-minute warning, and they will try to build on what has already been a dominant first-half performance. Finds the big tight end. Really nice pickup there as they have it out to the 44 with the first down. He's going to pass. It's incomplete, and trust me, you will not see that very often from this guy at 2nd down. Couldn't make the connection last time. Let's see if they throw it again. Looking to pass on 2nd down. Finds a soft spot in the middle. Now they're starting to feel it. They've got a first down at the 44. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. They keep attacking through the air. All kinds of room to throw that one in there. Chopping up this defense, and they've got it all the way down to the 23. The clock will stop with this timeout from the offense. They'll get a chance to regroup on the sideline. They'll throw it on 1st down. Excellent coverage and good use of the hands to knock it away. After the misfire, now on 2nd down. He's looking to throw. Quick strike complete. They make the stop right there. Good pickup, but still short of the first down. And the Seminoles have moved it inside the 20. Looking to throw for it. Lets it go to the end zone. Can't make the grab as he was looking for his man right at the goal line. They're not into threes. They want sixes. And to keep this drive alive, they'll need to get it on 4th down. Couldn't find his man, and they'll give up the football on downs. They'll leave it with him. Ran through the contact. And he finds enough running room, and he's marked down at the 20. Quarterback and running back set up in the pistol. We played 2 quarters here. Time to go to Kevin Connors in our halftime update.
Guys, between the coaches who have matched wits in this game and the players and the unforgettable moments, Miami, Florida State is must-see TV, and today is no different. The passing game for both sides has been outstanding. On point, unrelenting. They've excelled in the short game, the intermediate game, and especially on the deep ball. All in all, a thrilling display of offensive firepower, and these defenses have a lot to discuss here at halftime. With that, let's throw it back to the guys to see how the battle between Miami and Florida State plays out.
Nice job by the kickoff team. Everybody stayed in their lanes, and they'll stop him at the 16. Soft spot in the middle. He's brought down, but there's a flag on the field. Let's see what the call is. So the decision has been made, and the coach will take the penalty. Looking for a productive play on 1st down. The give on the inside. Dances away from 1. Found just enough running room. He picks up 4 to the 15. Ran the ball on 1st down. Let's see what they do on 2nd. The inside handoff. Running with power. That may not look like a huge run, but they'll take it as it gets them up to the 24. Boy, could they use a conversion on 3rd and short from their own 24. He'll have the 1st down as he gets it to the 28-yard line before he stops. And the Seminoles come to the line with a fresh set of downs. The give to the back. He picks up maybe a couple before he stops right at the 30-yard line. Picked up 2 yards on that last one. They need 8 on 2nd down. Off play action. And the freshman will chalk up a sack.
Well, the Miami linebacker shows you his speed on that play. And when I talk about Miami linebackers, it is a bit of a sore subject for me. We played against the Canes in the Sugar Bowl my senior year. In college, I got hit multiple times by multiple Miami linebackers and spent multiple days in an ice tub post-game.
Probably the toughest call on the play sheet. 3rd and long. Ball's at the 25. Looking to throw, and he needs a bunch. He'll pull it down. Oh, he just avoided taking a big hit with the slide. The Seminoles decide to punt it away. First one is away, and boy, did he put in work in that loss last week, kicking it 5 times. They'll put that return to a stop at the 33, but the offense set up in pretty good field position. Decent field position to start this drive from their own 33. One back in the backfield, he gets to carry. He stopped just a chain link or 2 away from the 1st down and sets them up beautifully here. They'll try the run. The Hurricanes pick up the 1st down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. And with this place rocking, the crowd forces a false start.
False start. Offense.
The officials offer the deal, and the coach accepts it. They will take the penalty. He's looking to throw. Gets it out quickly. They bring him down, but a solid pickup to put them in position to pick up a 1st down. Got the completion on the last play. Still some work to do on 2nd down. He's looking to throw. He'll try to do it himself. And he avoids the hit and slides after the short gain. And this offense just has to find a way to convert this 3rd down, or else they are really in trouble. And the incomplete pass will bring up 4th down. And the Hurricanes will line up to punt it away. And just a spectacular punt. It'll go out of bounds inside the 5-yard line and really put this offense in a hole. Leaves it with the back.
How about the defender being a heat-seeking missile? He was on radar lock. He found the football and flew down with some bad intentions.
He's brought down. Solid pickup, but a little bit short of the first down. This is the type of play that can give the offense momentum. 3rd and short from inside the 20. The option look. He'll toss it. Open space at the 25. Finally run out of bounds, but he has this offense rolling with the first down. The Seminoles want to pick up the tempo.
And that's a nice 3rd down conversion for this offense. And I tell you what, the struggle for this offense has been stringing those first downs together. They're not in the top 50 in college football in first downs. They'll get one and then they kind of stall. Let's see if they can put multiple first downs together. Get one of those long drives going.
From the gun, they'll try to impose their will. Now facing a 3rd and long. From the gun, wants to pass. He's looking deep. And it falls incomplete. But it could have been much, much worse as the defender was right there. The Noles send out the punt unit. This will be the 2nd time they've had to kick it away. He'll call for the fair catch here. And here comes that Miami offense back onto the field. David, the punter got some work last time. They'd like to keep him on the sidelines in this drive.
Yeah, it's not something you want to say very often. You don't want the punter out there. This offense needs to get back lathered up and get a little bit more of a rhythm.
Best way to do that, identify where your best players are and just get them the football. Give these guys some touches to kickstart this offense.
And he's brought down, but the defender got a face full of stiff arm before he picked up that first down. Right back to the well. He's knocked down in the backfield. He'll lose a couple. Here comes the offense on 2nd down. From the gun, the ground game. They make the stop, but not before he takes a chunk out of what they need to move the sticks. Better find the earplugs. Here comes the noise, backing this defense on 3rd down. Pressure coming. The freshman able to get home with the sack.
All right, this quarterback is going to have to start playing with a clock going off in his head. He knows he cannot hold on to the football too long with players like that getting after him.
The Canes will bring the punt team onto the field. Let's see if he can help the coverage team out with this one. He'll wave for the fair catch and haul it in at the 25. Guys, here comes that Florida State offense back onto the field. They missed an opportunity to extend this lead the last time they had it, Jesse.
Yeah, they got to be able to regain that momentum, right? Go back to what was working earlier on in this one. And, David, to me, that starts with being the more physical team.
No, I definitely agree. Being the more physical team, but understanding the situation of the game, you're still winning. You got the football back. Now put a nice drive together and execute.
Defense couldn't quite hold its water, and it'll be 5 free yards for the O. Off the play fake. Finds the tight end. He'll move it up to the 37-yard line, and it'll be a first down. From the gun, they'll give it on the inside. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one. Lost 1 on that last one. It's 2nd and 11. The give out of the gun. And he's to the 48-yard line. That'll be good enough for a first down. Man down on the play as the officials take a break to let him be checked out. And the Noles are moving quickly down the field. Here's the handoff. Powers through the defender. They stop him at the 42, but they get it across midfield. Pick up 10 and the first down. The Seminoles come to the line with a new set of downs. Movement here from the tight end. They're going to go right back to him on first down. Just a savvy, veteran, productive run from this junior. Now on first down from the 30. Looking to move it through the air. And the physical play there forces the incompletion on first down. This offense has a second down play. From the gun, he leaves it with the back. And how about that interior defense stuffing the run for nothing? Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. Coming to the line of scrimmage at the 30. It would be a long field goal, but they'd love to pick up a few here on 3rd and long. Unloads to the wideout. He's got an open man. He's brought down, but he's got him inside the 10. First and goal from the 8. Man down on the play as the officials take a break to let him be checked out. And the Seminoles trying to cash it in on 1st and goal. They'll try to get it in with the run. He's got it down to the 1-yard line right on the doorstep of Pater. The big fellas line up in a goal line defense. Pre-snap motion in the backfield. Receiver on the move gets the touch pass. And he never had a chance. Just stopped cold as soon as he got it.
Brings up 3rd and goal.
That's the end of the quarter, and Florida State has the lead. And as we switch ends of the field, let's take a quick look at the national rankings. One more period to go to see who can make the winning plays and come home with the victory. If they can get it into the end zone here, they can really turn up the heat in this one. 3rd and goal. Jumped on top of the pile. No hesitation from this head coach. He will go for it on 4th and goal from the 1. Looking to throw. Trying to get to him. They got him. Big stop in the backfield, and what a stand by this defense to keep points off the board.
Well, you're up by 2 possessions in the 4th quarter. They're hoping with that conversion they ice the game. They don't get it. It feels like they're going to win, but we've seen crazy things happen in college football, and they've left the door open here late. Let's see what happens.
Offense getting set for first down. They'll come out on this drive and let it rip. Might be looking to run. Got to protect the merchandise. Gets down without taking a hit. 2nd and 7 from the 15. He's looking to throw. Receiver looks it in. It's complete. They stop him almost immediately. Short gain there, and still a little ground covered. Pick up the first. In the gun and looking to throw on 3rd down. Nice defensive play to get a hand in there and knock it away. And the Canes will call on their punt team. They may have to pay him overtime. He's punting for the 5th time today. He's got great speed. Return's going to get it up around midfield. He'll be down at the 49-yard line. First down here for the offense. Out of the gun, they'll run it inside. And he didn't have a whole lot of operating room after the juke. Not much room to run. Halfway there on first down, it's 2nd and 5. He's looking to throw. This will be picked off. Maybe just the turning point they needed.
All right, sense of urgency now has to go through the roof for this team. They needed their defense to come up with that turnover right there. So if you're on offense, you got to get these plays called. You got to get aggressive, take some shots, because you can now go and win this game.
Here comes the Hurricane offense looking to gather a little more strength. That last drive fizzled out, Jesse. They had to punt it.
Yeah, they did. And, David, they're just going to have to do a better job this time around erasing the mental mistakes.
And just trying to solve the defensive riddle, understanding what they're trying to do to you and attack them.
After the 3-yard pickup, they come to the line, 2nd and 7. He's looking to throw. Fires to the wideout. And he throws another interception, his third of the night. Taking it the other way. And he's going to take it all the way. Touchdown, no! They push that lead out, a really good opportunity to get back in the win column. The DB saw it. He thought, don't drop it, don't drop it. Then thought, don't get caught, don't get caught. And he didn't. The pick six.
Hey, these guys can play offense, too, now. Look at this. I showed you I can be a wide receiver. Coach might split him out at wide receiver next week after making that big play. But defense, great job making the interception. And you're right, doing something with it. Don't just slide down. Don't be content. Take that thing all the way back, brother.
Getting aggressive here and going for two. He'll set up to throw. He's got it. Two-point try is good as they build on this lead. They're about to kick it away, and the defense probably can't wait to get back out there after the pick six. He'll take the return, try to get better field position. He was hoping for something a little more dynamic, but they get him on the ground at the 20. And here comes that Miami offense back onto the field. Well, the good news is they threw a touchdown pass last time. It was just to the wrong team, Jesse.
Well, that's an unfortunate part of the game for quarterbacks, but guess what? They do happen, so you've got to be able to turn the page here and lead this offense.
Well, I think you know this defense is going to be aggressive. They're going to jump routes. They're going to play aggressive. You got to take advantage of that. Maybe use that this time to your advantage.
Makes the grab. Knocked down at the 44, but he got 15 on that one. Now they'll line it up from the 44 on 1st and 10. He wants to throw. Moving away from pressure. They stop him at the 42, but they're on a roll with a pickup of 15 and a first down. And the Canes come to the line with a fresh set of downs. To the air on 1st down. Escapes the sack. And he has a solid gain on the play before sliding. 2nd down coming up. He's looking to throw. Reacted well to the tip, but just couldn't squeeze the football. Instead of the turnover, it'll be 3rd down. They'll try to pick up the first through the air. It's complete. Working their way closer and closer. A 3rd down conversion, and they've got it at the 26. Wants to throw on 1st down off the play fake. And he was hit just as he was releasing the pass, and it falls to the ground incomplete. After the misconnection, it's 2nd down. The play action fake. Feeling some heat. And this sophomore able to wreak some havoc and get the sack. Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. This will be the 8th play of the drive, but a great opportunity for the defense to get off the field. On 3rd and long, doesn't need to take the check down. And the incomplete pass will bring up 4th down. They'll play it safe and try for 3. He's going to reach for a long one, a 52-yard attempt. Splits the uprights. Good.
That makes the score. Florida State 24, Miami 10.
After that last field goal drive, they're set to kick it away. On the move from inside his 5. He was looking for some running room, but not much to be found as he stopped at the 18. The Seminoles have it back. They'll try to get that offensive spear flaming. From the gun, running back on the move. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one. Didn't get much done on that first play of the drive. It's 2nd and 11. The give to the running back from the shotgun. They knock him down, but not before he gets it out to the 21-yard line. Pick up a 4. Man down on the play as the officials take a break to let him be checked out. If they can convert here, that type of play can really give you a shot of momentum. On 3rd down, he drops to throw. Unloads to the wideout. It's caught. Really nice job there to pick up the first down and get it to their own 41. And the Seminoles are in the hurry-up.
Well, it really just feels like they are trying to make a statement to everybody in college football. They've got a lead, they've got it late, and they are still putting it on this defense. They are still letting it fly. They're airing it out, trying to light up the scoreboard.
Looking to throw on second down. And that's going to be incomplete. A lot of contact on the play, but no flags. It'll be third down. That last incomplete pass has him staring at a 3rd and 3. Fighting off the defender. Now with a great opportunity as they pick up the first down, they've got it at the 40. The Seminoles are moving quickly down the field. Wide receiver coming across in motion. Leaves it with the running back. You'll take 4 yards on first down every time, 2nd and 6. This offense could not have executed in this situation any better, just draining some time off the clock. Moves it forward just a bit, a pickup of 1 to the 35. 5 yards away from another third down conversion on this drive. They're already 2 for 2. And that'll be incomplete. They certainly weren't afraid to take a shot there, and now it's 4th down. So here comes the field goal unit again. This kicker has already made 3 in this one. Oh, and the attempt is no good. Missed the field goal, missed the chance to make it a 3-possession game, but still a 14-point lead, guys.
Miami, 10.
Here comes the Hurricane offense looking to gather a little more strength. It's always great to get points on a drive, but it would behoove them to try to get a touchdown this time around, Palmer.
They may have to get out of their comfort zone here too, David, a little bit and just start being more aggressive and take some chances, but that's what's going to happen for them to win this game.
Yeah, and when you're losing, obviously everything gets hyped. Everything becomes more critical. This drive is crucial because you've got to cut into this deficit and put some points on the board.
Short gain on the play before he slides. And here comes the offense on second down. Still looking. The sweet feet keeping the play alive. Nifty little scamper on this one. Enough for the first down, and he slides in safely. The Hurricanes come to the line with a new set of downs. Encroachment defense. The encroachment penalty on the D gives the offense a free 5 yards. He's looking to throw. Fires to the tight end. A quick tackle made, but he's got plenty for the first down. And the Hurricanes want to crank the tempo.
Well, down 2 possessions. Good news is you get the completion. Bad news, though, did not get out of bounds. You know right now, saving the clock. That is at a premium for this offense.
On 1st and 10, trying to strike from the 15. They'll throw it from the red zone. Quarterback strolling away from heat. On the run, and he'll slide to avoid the big hit. Second down coming up on this red zone opportunity. He's looking to throw. And it'll be incomplete. This defense is physical and pass deep. Really need to pick up this conversion and avoid having to settle for the field goal. They're going to try to throw for it on 3rd down. And he'll race it to the house. Touchdown, Caves! So they get that score that they so desperately needed, and now they've got a chance to pull this one out.
Defense has got to give them a chance. The defense needs to get the ball back to them quickly so they can march down the field and try and score and narrow the gap again. This offense, they have the playmakers to come back and win this football game. They're going to need some help from the defense.
Ready to try the point after. And it's up and good as they draw just a touch closer. We check in with Kevin Connors. What's going on, Kevin?
Gentlemen, let's take a look at what's happening in this exciting college football game. UCLA is just getting blown right out of the Rose Bowl today. And while scorned Pac-12 fans might have no problem with that, this will not sit well with that fan base. They're trailing by 38 to Arizona State. Any big developments in this one, we've got you covered with the best studio team in the business, gentlemen.
Oh, and how about that? I know Kevin and those guys will be keeping an eye on it for us. Nifty run there. Pickup of 6 out to the 25. We reached a 2-minute warning in this offense, trying to milk this clock and keep time on their side. Fast motion from the offense. They'll keep it on the ground. The clock is on their side. Quick timeout called by the defense, stopping the clock to save as much time as possible for their offense. They'll put it in play from the 27, first down. They'll run it out of the shotgun. Just a solid stop by this sophomore. Timeout called there by the defense, desperate to get the ball back and save as much time as possible. You got to believe they just want to run it, take care of the football, and keep that clock moving on 2nd and 9. End off from the shotgun. And the defense makes the stop after a minimal gain. Defense uses a timeout quickly, trying to get that ball back and preserve time for their offense. On 3rd and long, trying to have a big completion here. And the pressure will get there. The sack. Down he goes in the waiting moments. That could be a costly play. The Seminoles will punt this one away.
On to kick it away.
Books it all the way in and now turns his attention upfield. He was working his way on the return toward midfield. They'll stop him at the 46. He wants to start this drive with a pass. Finds his man down the middle. Excellent job working through the air there, finding a hole in that defense and picking up a first down. He's looking to throw it. Fires toward the end zone. And swatted down by the defense to stop the scoring opportunity. Couldn't connect on that last play. Now 2nd and 10 from the 42. He's looking to throw. Getting some heat. And he can't find anyone open, and down he goes. A sack here late in the 4th. On 3rd and long, you'll have to turn it loose deep. Got it in stride at the 15. Touchdown, Hurricane. And once he got loose, it was all over.
What a massive play by this offense. Man, you needed it. Great execution. Now kick the extra point, tie this football game up late, or do you go for 2? Do you go for the win? Do you try to take the lead? That is a you decision.
And now a critical extra point attempt here. And he splits the uprights, and we are tied in the 4th. Quick work on that scoring drive, just 4 plays. And they've got it locked up in the final minute after the touchdown and extra point. He'll start the return inside his 5. Didn't find any crease in that kickoff coverage, and he'll be stopped at the 17. Guys, here comes that Florida State offense back onto the field. This one is about finding the balance between being aggressive and not being reckless, Jesse.
The only way this thing works, though, if they're going to be aggressive, this offensive line has got to be able to hold up here for this QB.
Yeah, because you need to take shots beyond the sticks so the clock will stop and you can save every second you have.
Well, guys, let's play some more. Headed to overtime.
And this just feels right. Both of these teams going back and forth. So, of course, David, this thing needs to get decided in OT.
Let's see who's better. Short amount of time to do it. A couple possessions probably, maybe 1 possession each. Who's the better team?
All right, guys, so here we go in overtime. And just to refresh everyone's memory, alternating possessions starting on the opponent's 25.
And it's so nice to be on defense first, just to set the tone, to understand what you need. Try to hold them to a field goal. The offense knows they can do their job to go out and get a win. Just 2 possessions, Palmer. Like, you got to be at your best.
Yeah, and I love the new rules, too, because in the third overtime possession, it goes to alternating 2-point plays, back and forth. Who's got anything left in the tank here in OT?
And the defense had that one well covered, just a short gain there. They'll line up for a second down play. Off the bootleg and rolling out. Got his man quickly. They make the stop, trying to pick up just a little bit at a time to get to that first down mark. This crowd knows when to bring it. Fires on the move. And they can't make the connection on third down, but hold everything. There is a flag. Let's see what that's about. So the penalty will not be enforced. The defense defines and stands on the result of the play. So here we are on fourth down, and this field goal kicker is going to face all the pressure in the world. The field goal is no good. After that failed field goal attempt, fellas, still tie ball game. Defense has its back against the wall as they try to extend this game and force another overtime. Off the play fake on first down. He makes a catch. Defense makes a stop, but the chains move, and it's first and goal from the 8. He's got it on the run. And that defense doesn't allow a cutback, and they get him out of bounds after a short gain. So the decision has been made, and the coach will take the penalty. From the gun, the running back has it. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one. Defense rose up deep in its own end on that last play. Now a second and long coming. They move the tight end all over. The run up the middle, trying to find his way to the goal line. And they try to run inside, and there is nowhere to go. Third and goal now. They have to take care of the football, and we assume line up for the game-winning field goal attempt. He's right on target. And he's knocked down. Here comes the field goal unit, and they can win it with a chip shot. Defense will call a timeout. They got a peek at the formation, want to make sure they're in the right call on this big down here in overtime. It's good! A walk-off field goal, and he gets it done in OT. My pulse rate is still through the roof on this game. I would have called that one for free. Wait, I don't want to get carried away here, but it was a really fun game and a great win.
It really was. I know we're all up here, we're bouncing around, we're excited after having seen what we just saw. What a great win for this team to go out and do it in overtime. That's the type of game that fans are going to be talking about for a long time, Dave.
Yeah, right. If you know Reese Davis, that is not happening, but we got a free game that was awesome, back and forth, nip and tuck, and bonus time. You got some free overtime play in that one.
That's going to do it for us. For Jesse Palmer, David Pollack, our entire broadcast team, I'm Reese Davis. This has been another presentation of EA Sports College Football.